Private Pilot Check Ride Prep. Today we're covering a foreign from 61.19 to 61.49. These are all the chapters or lessons I've skipped. None of these are important to understand for your check ride. First is the 61.19 duration of certificates. Basically, how long does a pilot certificate last until the next reassurance or certificate is required? Student pilot certificates expire after 24 calendar months from the month that they were issued. So if I was issued a student pilot certificate on August 8th, it wouldn't expire until the last day of August, because it's calendar month, not the dates. And then we got private pilot, commercial ATP, flight instructor, ground instructor certificate do not expire unless they are suspended, revoked, or canceled by the FAA. Then is temporary certificates. They're valid for 120 days until the permanent certificate is received, or whichever comes first. So let's say I pass my check ride, I will receive a temporary certificate proving that I have the ability to act as a private pilot under certain circumstances. So let's say I did receive and I passed my check ride, and then the real card actually shows up on my doorstep 50 days later. That means the temporary certificate will be expired, even though it's 120 days, even because the card came first, it doesn't really matter, but you know. Let's go on to the next. Then we have medical certificates. These are insanely important. Probably talked about in probably every check ride, but you must know what is first class, second, third, and a basic med. So a medical is required to have on you before conducting flights as a student, private, commercial, or ATP, or just any flight you're conducting as a pilot in command or as a crew member. You must have a medical proving you are able or worthy to fly. And types of classes. So we have first class down here. It gives you privileges as an airline transmitter pilot and pilot privileges. Second is for commercial privileges like those corporate jobs. And the third gives you privileges to act as a student recreational pilot and a private pilot privileges. Basic med we'll talk a bit more in the next slide. Then you must know, let's say I do get my first class medical, it would downgrade each calendar month, but first class medical, they last 12 months if you're under 40 years old. Second class, both they last for another 12 months, and third class it lasts for 5 years or 60 calendar months. Then if you're older than 40, it would last 6 months as a first class medical, 12 months for your second class medical. Third class is 24 months or 2 years for if you're over 40 years old. Then basic med, they're both at 48, under or over 40. And medical certificates expire on the last day of month shown, or calendar months. Then we have medical requirements and duration. So if you are under 40, your first class medical would give you privileges as a first class. It will give you privileges first class for first 12 months, then it will downgrade to a second class medical for 6 months, then a third class for another 6 months. So that is 2 years. Then a second class medical, they do not downgrade, so it stays valid, doesn't downgrade or upgrade or whatever, but stays at 12 months as a commercial or a second class. Then we have a third class student or recreational pilot. They last for 60 months. It just stays capped at 5 years. But then if you're over 40 years old, it's a little bit different. They expire less because you're older and you must need to be checked more if you're able or if you're still fit to fly. So first 6 months of your first class medical stays, and after 6 months, it would downgrade to a second class medical for another 6 months. Then after that 12 months, it will revert to a third class medical for a couple of months, and the duration is 18 months or 1.5 years. Second class medical again, 12 months, does not downgrade or upgrade. Third class medical, 24 calendar months or 2 years. Then a little bit more of a basic med. So basic med is a current FAA for student pilots flying under Part 91. It allows you to fly without a traditional medical certificate if they meet specific requirements, but they do. It is a little more strict, and I'll talk about that in a bit. To apply as a basic med, you must check with a licensed physician with every 48 calendar months. You must get a physical exam, just like a normal medical, and the certificate is issued after July 14th, 2006. So the limitations about flying a medical: you cannot fly over 18,000 feet. You're capped at 250 knots. You can't fly over 250 knots or indicated speed. You cannot carry more than 6 occupants, including the pilots. And you can only fly for non-commercial purposes. You cannot fly if your max takeoff weight is 12,500 and less. That means you cannot get a type rating. Allows pilots to exercise private pilot privileges without holding a FAA medical. And it is kind of easier and less expensive to stay legal to fly as a private pilot. Then we have 6125, change of name. It is pilots must notify FAA change of name as soon as possible. After a name change, like marriage or court order, the pilot must apply for a new airman certificate reflecting the new name. Supporting documents: pilot must provide legal documents of the name change, such as marriage certificate, divorce decree, or court order. And your certificates do hold even if you change your name. Then we have replacements of lost or destroyed certificates and test reports. So if you do lose your test results, you must submit a letter to this address in Oklahoma of airmen or any type of certificates or reports that you have lost. But if you do lose a medical, you must be in this PO box. For medical certificates, it does require for a check or money order for that appropriate fee. And if you do need to check how much the fee is, it is on this website, faa.gov. Then within the document, you must show proof of full name, permanent mailing address, or your current residence address, date of birth, place of birth, and the airman certificates, grade, number, and date of issuance, ratings for medical certificates, class, dates, or place of medical AME, name of your examiner, and the reason why you lost it. Pilots can also voluntarily surrender or exchange certificates by submitting appropriate requests, often for cancellation assurance or lower grade certificates or updating ratings. So FAA may issue a temporary document for a replacement if it is valid for up to 60 days unless notified of suspension or denial or any type of that. And 61.37, knowledge test cheating or unauthorized conduct. If you do cheat on your test, it may result a ban for 1 year for applying any certificate ratings authorizations under the FAA. So it is by date, not calendar month. Just like if you get convicted as a DUI, it is 1 year prohibition. You're prohibited for 1 year for any test or any ratings endorsements within that year. And the FAA can suspend or revoke any certificate held by the applicant. And we have retesting after failure. If you do fail a practical test or like a check ride, you must wait at least 30 days before retaking the same test. Waiting this period applies practical test for certificates and ratings. That is it for this video. This PDF is under my link tree in the bio.